So, if you've ever been promoted because you were the absolute best person on your team, the technical wizard, then you already know this story. One day, you're the go-to person. You've got all the answers. And the next day, you're a manager. And that very skill that got you the job now feels like it's holding you and your entire team back. Let's get into this. Because it is really common and honestly pretty painful. For a lot of people, it starts with a wake-up call. And man, this quote, it is perfect example. This came from a new manager who admitted that for his first 6 months, he was still just trying to be the best engineer on the team. That single sentence from his junior engineer in a one-on-one, he said, was a total gut punch. It just perfectly captures the dilemma, right? You think you're helping by jumping in, but to the person you're supposed to be mentoring, it can feel like you are competing with them. So why is this so hard? Why is it so brutal to let go of the keyboard? Well, here's the thing. It is not a personal failure. You're not doing anything wrong. You've just fallen into what we call the expert trap. And it happens when the one thing that made you so valuable becomes the biggest roadblock to your success as a leader. Now, here is what is so interesting. The problem isn't your technical skill. That is still incredibly valuable. The real struggle is letting go of the identity that was built around that skill. Think about it. For years, your entire value at work came from being the one with answers, the one who could fix anything. And when that is suddenly not your job anymore, it can feel like you've lost your purpose. That identity crisis leads you straight into solving instead of coaching, which then bottlenecks your whole team and robs them of chances to grow. You're trying so hard to be helpful, but what you're actually doing is creating dependency. And this gets right to the emotional heart of it all. Everyone celebrates your promotion. They call it growth, but for you, it can feel like a genuine loss. You're losing that daily dopamine hit of cracking a tough problem yourself. It is kind of like a professional grief, but nobody ever calls it that. So you don't feel like you have permission to even talk about it. Okay, so how do we get out of this trap? Well, let us talk about the pivot. This is all about making a crucial mental shift. It is about learning to see your deepest instincts, that urge to jump in, not as a command you have to obey, but as a signal you need to analyze. Let us give that impulse a name. Let's call it the grab of wheel urge, and from now on, we treat it completely different. When you feel it, it is not an instruction to act. Think of it as a diagnostic signal. The urge isn't telling you there is a technical problem that needs fixing. It is telling you there is a leadership problem that needs solving. A gap in your team's training or their confidence, or even in your own trust in them. This insight from an experienced manager says everything. That urge to just take over is almost never about how complex the code is. It is a barometer. It measures your trust in the person who is doing the work. And if that trust isn't there, the problem isn't them, it is you. It means you either haven't hired the right person, or way more likely, you just haven't coached them enough yet. Okay, so you have done the mental work. You have reframed the urge as a signal. But what do you actually do in that moment when your fingers are itching to type? This isn't just about theory. Let's build a practical tactical toolkit for resisting that urge and turning it into a real coaching opportunity. It really comes down to a simple 3-step habit. First, you're going to pause. Just take a breath. Don't react. Okay. Second, you're going to ask. Don't give him the answer. Ask a question instead. Third, you're going to coach. Use their answer as the jumping off point for your guidance, not a direct solution. Pause, ask, coach. That's the new muscle memory. That ask step is the whole game right there. It's the moment you transfer ownership of the problem back to your team member. While there are a ton of great questions you can ask, there is one that is arguably the most powerful tool a new manager can possibly have in their toolkit. This is it. I know it looks deceptively simple, but it is an absolute game changer. What do you think we should try first? This question is brilliant because it does two critical things at once. It gets them to talk through their reasoning so you can see exactly how they are thinking. And second, it immediately starts building up their problem solving muscles and their confidence. You're shifting the goal from finding the perfect answer to let's just figure it out, the next logical step together. Let's see how this plays out in a super common scenario like a code review. The solver manager just gives an order, change line 42. Sure, the immediate problem gets fixed, but the engineer learned absolutely nothing. The coach manager, though, asks guiding questions. What is the time complexity here? They're teaching the engineer the why behind the change, empowering them to solve this entire class of problems on their own in future. When you start using this toolkit consistently, your entire world changes. You enter a new reality, one where your definition of success is completely different. Your value is no longer measured by your own visible work, but by the invisible work you do to help your team grow and succeed. The new metric for success is something we will call invisible leverage. This is your core job as a leader, to be a multiplier for your team. It's about creating the right environment, setting clear standards, and asking the right questions that allow your team to win. Your impact is huge, but it is often indirect, behind the scenes. And we have to be really honest here. Mindset shift is difficult. Okay? This quote covers it all. You have to find deep, genuine satisfaction in your team's success, even when, and especially when they get all the credit, because they will. And when they tell the story of that huge win, they might not even mention you. That is not a failure. That is the system working exactly as it should. Ultimately, making this leap from being the top performer to being an effective leader is an active choice. It is a choice to redefine your value, moving away from your own personal heroics and toward your ability to create a whole team of heroes. The real question to leave you with is this: are you ready to stop being the star of the show so that you can build a team that is full of them?